Hello everybody and welcome to the second tutorial video here on Shark Beatbox. Today we're going to be learning about the clap snare. So to start off, the clap snare, there's actually two ways to do it. So the way you just heard, the first way is to have your top lip over your bottom lip, and you do the clap snare that way. The second method, this is the way I previously used to do, is the top and bottom lip on top of each other with a slight pouty face. You don't want a full one like I just did, but just like a half one. You want the bottom lip to come out a little bit so that the top and the fleshy part of your bottom lip can essentially smack together. So the thing about the first method, and the reason I use it now, is because it allows me to do things like this. So I can easily go in and out with the sound, and it sounds pretty much the same, and it just has a quickening effect to the sound. So those are the two ways to do the clap snare. Now, to do the clap snare, it's three somewhat easy steps. The hardest step is the first step. And honestly, coming back to this video is something that I recommend because it can take quite a while to build up the necessary muscles to actually even get to the second or third step for it to even sound remotely similar to what I'm doing. So that first step is essentially what you're going to be doing when you're doing this clap snare is you're going to be building muscles in your cheeks, especially right here. It kind of makes you want to have a little accent. I don't know what it's from, but and then also down here in the throat. You might be able to notice I have sometimes I have a tendon or whatever that is poking out. But that means these muscles here are also being used. You can also see right here. And it might create an effect of your throat feeling sore, as if you're sick. But in all reality, you're not actually sick. It's these muscles becoming sore, which hardly ever become sore. Maybe if you sleep wrong for a night or two and your neck is sore, it typically happens in the back, never really in the front. And so these muscles never really get sore. So it can trick you into thinking you might be sick, when in actuality you probably aren't. So those two areas right here and right here will become especially sore. This right here is a target of, especially for beginners, of soreness in the face and neck. So this process is in three steps, and the first step can take quite a while, like I said before. And this first step is essentially building up these muscles right here in the cheeks. So what I want you to do is, for the first method, put your top lip over the bottom lip and hold that position. And I want you to squeeze your lips together as much as you can. Don't clench your teeth in either of these methods. Don't clench your teeth at all, but keep your lips tightly closed together, as tight as you possibly can get them. For the second method, do the same way, just a little pouty face, and then clamp your lips together. Don't clamp your teeth down, however. So try as hard as you can to keep holding that position. And this is kind of like half of the first step. Trying to keep this down. You'll feel these muscles tightening. I recommend doing this for, probably a couple of days before you move on to the second half of this first step, just so you can get these muscles trained and the soreness start to die down a little bit. So once you've gotten to the point where you feel like you can continue on with a little bit more, what we do to make this sound is narrow everything down into the center of your mouth. So you want air coming through the center of your mouth only. You don't want air escaping, like when you talk, you don't want it just all escaping through your mouth evenly spread. You want it all coming down through the center of your mouth. And to do that, what we want to do is hold the position either in the first way, with the top lip over the bottom lip tucked underneath, or the pouty face second method. And I want you to try and blow air as slowly and as concentrated in that small central location as you can. So it should look like this for the first method. So So you kind of hear a little squeaking noise. That's me trying to blow air from the center. That gets my muscles going too. So it's a great exercise to keep in your repertoire as a beatboxer to continue to get these sounds sounding stronger and more full. So keep those muscles tight and try and just force air through the center of your mouth as slowly as you possibly can. Now for the second method, you can kind of see like it's a little bit wider in my mouth for the second method because I'm not as used to it. My muscles aren't as trained in that way. So, so that's the first step here is to try and get that sound coming out, just the air from the center. And like I said, this is probably going to hurt, not in a bad way, but it's gonna tense up these muscles, and it's gonna probably take a while for you to get to the point where it's not hurting every single time you do it. So the second step, once you feel comfortable with that one, is to try and make little small spitting noises instead of just air coming through that central spot. So for the first method, try and match that sound. It kind of looks a little bit ridiculous, but kind of like you're squeaking a little bit, kind of like a little mouse, so to speak. As for the second method, try and focus it in the center. I'm going off to one side, try and go to the center. You keep doing this over and over, and keep practicing this. And this is the second step in the clap snare to get this sound down. And now for the third step, what you want to do is you want to make it more explosive, as if you're trying to spit, but keep it all in and shove it only out in the center. There's a small little portion, trying to squeeze it out, so to speak. So for the first method, might help to throw your head forward a little bit more or tense up your throat a little bit more as you do it to try and force this air out. And keep in mind, when you do this sound, the reason I can sing while doing this is because I'm using the air that's in my mouth. It's not coming from my diaphragm, my stomach, or my lungs. It's not coming from there. It's coming from the air stored in my cheeks, which I'm squeezing out as well. So when you're doing these steps, you're probably going to be starting with air from your lungs, pushing it out. But as you become a more experienced beatboxer and as you try more to just fill your air with a little bit, you don't see my cheeks, so I'm like super bloated, but there's air in my mouth when it's closed. You don't have to puff out your cheeks much to have that, and just trying to squeeze that out. You only need a tiny bit of air for this clap snare, and what you're doing is squeezing it out from your cheeks, or with the power of your cheeks through that little center spot. That's why your cheeks need to be so strong. So keep that in mind as you're going through it. If you want to be able to sing while you do the clap snare, which is a huge benefit, that's the reason why I use the clap snare, then keep that in mind, using the air in your mouth to do so. So for the second method, for the third step, try and make it more explosive. Of course, you're not going to get this right away, this kind of sound right away. Well, maybe for the second one, because I'm not as practiced in it, but keep trying that over and over and repetitious. If you feel like you're not getting it, try and move back to the second step or the first step, and trying to develop this sound more and more. One thing about the second method, the slightly pouty face, it can sound more powerful, as you might have heard. This one sounds a little more airy and weak, but the added benefit I like is the quickness in which I can go back and forth between them. And I'll teach that how to do that in a future video. But this is the preliminary step for a nice solid clap snare. Try coming back to this video as much as you can to practice these steps, and we'll have more exercising videos later on in the future on this channel as well to help you remember to keep these exercises up, to keep the mouth and the cheeks and the throat and the neck all ready and primed to be able to beatbox to the fullest extent that you can. Awesome. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you're a new subscriber, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and reach out to you personally. Also, let me know how I did in the comments. If you're still having questions or concerns, or you're not quite getting this sound, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and explain it a little bit better, maybe make another video and try to explain it in another way that might help you out. But awesome. Thank you all. We'll see you in the next video.